Friends, look at this planet very carefully. It will look like Earth. Yes, it used to be like Earth. Then something happened to it that it was stripped of everything. Now this planet looks something like this. Yes, we are talking about Venus. Scientists say that when these two plants were born, both the seeds were of the same shape and were identical. And both the planets were similar, and Venus also had water, and maybe there was life. Then what happened? Everything was taken away from him. If we know about the planet Venus, then the video must be watched till the end. This is the story of 3 billion years ago. It is believed that 3 billion years ago, Venus had water and huge oceans and a lovely environment. Venus has everything that is necessary for life. We cannot even think about life in the current state of Venus. The heat there is like lava. There is acid rain instead of water. In such an environment, even humans and machines will melt. It is believed that something so bad happened to Venus that all its seas dried up. So we have to go back in time a bit to find out what happened to Venus in the end. For centuries, humans have thought that Venus is an Earth-like planet and that there is life on it too. 1761 was a scientist, Mikhail Limnoso. He was looking at Venus through a telescope. When Venus passed in front of the sun, they saw a hair-thin layer on Venus. That layer was the atmosphere of Venus. Since then, people have thought that life exists on Venus because of the atmosphere. It is a component that is essential for life. People used to think about Venus the same way we think about building a house on Mars today. People in the 20th century thought that if they went to Venus, they would either find aliens or dinosaurs roaming around. Some 20th century movies show us dinosaurs roaming on Venus and oceans. So finally, in 1962, scientists built a spacecraft, whose name was Mariner. It was the first spacecraft to visit Venus, but the spacecraft exploded shortly after launch. The total cost of this spacecraft was $18.5 million, which is more than $150 million in today's budget. The scientists were quite upset because they had failed in their first mission, but they did not give up. They built another spaceship named Mariner 2. Mariner to Venus was launched, but when it passed by Venus, it reported that Venus had no magnetic field. Even if it is so large that it cannot protect Venus from the solar wind. That magnetic field is 0.0015% of Earth's. And this is the reason why there is always a beam of radiation on Venus. It proved one thing, that we can't go to Venus without a spacesuit. Another thing Mariner 2 found is that Venus has a very thick atmosphere at all times. There is a shadow of thick clouds. And if we want to know the atmosphere of Venus, we have to land there. While the United States was preparing to send its own mission to the moon, the Soviet Union began exploring Venus. The Soviet Union sent a series of spacecraft to Venus, but they were not very successful because the temperature on Venus caused their machines to melt. Mercury is closest to the sun, but Venus is hotter than Mercury. The daytime temperature on Mercury is 430 degrees Celsius, while the same temperature on Venus goes up to 500 degrees Celsius. Mercury cools down at night, but Venus stays warm at night too. How hot is Venus? The scientists burned fire in a furnace to make it the same temperature as Venus and put a camera in it. As soon as the camera was put in it, it caught fire. From this, you can predict what happens when any element is sent to Venus. We hope you will like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.